Hey Hearties, I'm Casey.
And I'm Cammie. Welcome to the Hearties Hotline,
your connection to Hope Valley.
We want to give a shout out to our friends at Edify Films, where you can get fabulous When Calls the Heart merchandise, like my hat.
And you can also get a fun When Calls the Heart game from our friends at the Bundle Game. Be sure to use discount code Hearties Hotline for 10% off.
We've got a fabulous episode for you today, full of laughter, tears, and heart.
So take a walk with us to Hope Valley and let's dive in.
Hearties, welcome to the Hearties Hotline Season 2 premiere episode. Yay!
Pop the confetti!
We are so excited to come back. It has been a bit of a roller coaster ride with our season 1, and now we are back with season 2, and boy, are we back with a bang!
Yes, we are. And we just want to clarify here, this is the podcast season 2 in which we will be discussing season 8. But Cammie, we had to kick off this new season in a really unique and special way. And
we couldn't just do it with anybody or anything. We had to make it impactful, right?
Yes.
Who could possibly make a huge impact on our season 2 premiere?
I don't know. Somebody probably very dynamic.
Yeah, dynamic is good. Way over the top always helps, especially in podcasting, right? Yeah.
Unless you're practicing your calligraphy and you want to make sure you have the correct nib on that pen.
No, that's true too. Yeah. And maybe somebody wants to take a trip to LA, and so they need to pack some sunglasses.
With really cool sunglasses.
Shall we bring this person on?
I think we shall.
Okay.
Let's bring her on the line.
Hi, Pascale.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're tickled red.
Yes. I told Cammie, I was like, I'm not gonna like so overly gush because I just love you and your performances and everything. I mean, you've made my year.
Thank you so much.
This is marvelous. You are the first main character cast member that we have had. So it's a big
I'm excited to be the first.
Yes. So let's start off with, how are you? It's been a crazy year. It's been a crazy beginning of the year. And how have you been doing? How have you been coping?
I've been doing all right. I think initially the change of pace was actually really beneficial for me and my family. It was nice to kind of just hunker down and just connect. And then, I'm up in Canada. And so things are a bit different here in terms of like rules and guidelines and stuff. So I got really into homeschooling my kids for April, May, and June. And then in September, schools reopened here. And so my kids went back to school, and knock on wood, there's been 0 incidents at their school. The parents and teachers and children have done a really good job of following all the guidelines. And so it's been pretty seamless for them being back at school. And I think the normalcy of school has done really good things for them. They're really happy to have that outlet for their minds, but also socially to see their friends, because it's not a lot of that happening at our house. Like there's none of it happening at our house. There's none of it happening at our house. So so that's been good. And then of course we went back filming season 8 of When Calls the Heart starting in July. And so that that's again sort of added to the normalcy of life, because I've been doing that now for the last 7 years.
Right.
So it felt and we were always meant to go back in July. So it didn't actually affect, like the pandemic didn't really affect our filming schedule at all. We had wrapped before Christmas, and then the pandemic hit in March. And we were always supposed to be on our hiatus at that time when the whole film industry shut down. And we were always meant to return in July. So, and July, it was safer. Films were starting to film again and productions were starting up. So we again, luckily, knock on wood, we went through the whole season with no incidents with our entire cast and crew.
That's
so
marvelous.
I think the cast and crew, having seen what that was like when the entire industry was shut down, took the severity of safety measures to heart. They did not want to, no one was taking it for granted. They knew what it looked like when there was no work because of the pandemic, and they didn't want that to happen again. So everybody was really strict about following protocols. And it went along seamlessly, and we were able
the timing
to film.
was perfect.
The timing was perfect. So we filmed from July right up until December again. And it was smooth sailing. And so, and we're all ready to air the season 8 come February 21st, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are very aware of that date. We're not counting down or anything. No.
But yeah, I think we can all kind of, because Cammie and I are also both moms and we have children of the same age. So we can definitely identify with taking a step back and being able to be with family during a really hard time and just soak in those moments. Because my girls are 3 and 5. And so we're like busy. And then all of a sudden everything shut down. But those moments when they're small, I mean, they're not
you don't get them back
forever.
You don't get them back, and once they're gone, like those moments. And so I think that was a really positive thing. I've always been a huge advocate for not over scheduling your kids, and I think that was a big lesson for a lot of parents. When everything just shut down, they went, oh my gosh, I'm off the hamster wheel. Our family is off the hamster wheel. And it feels so good to not be scheduled, to have time kids have time to just play and imagine and be creative. And also families to just have time and space to be together without it being a structured, organized activity, carpooling to this activity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the question of the day, did you finish all your puzzles? Because we remember.
Oh, you did. And then you know what? At Christmas, I think because I put it out there, we got inundated with so many gifts of puzzles. So I've now been on a new mission with all these new puzzles. I've just finished actually 2 puzzles over the weekend.
That's so funny.
Because it kind of died out when I was working. I wasn't doing as much puzzling.
I would think so. Yeah.
Now, after during the holidays, and then now when it's quieter, I've got back into these puzzles, and my husband begrudgingly he got back into them with me. I don't know if he really loves it as much, but he sees me get so into it that he's like, all right, fine, I might as well join you. And so, so we've been doing quite a bit of puzzling lately.
Did anybody send you a When Calls the Heart puzzle? Because they just came out with Edify.
No one has.
No, not yet.
The heart. I would like it though. How many pieces is it?
I think both of them are 1,000.
Oh yeah, so that's a good one. 1,000 is
a
good challenge. 1,000 is a good challenge. Although I recently on the weekend just did a 500 piecer, which I thought was going to be a breeze, and it was so hard because it was really like fine, gradual changes in color, and so
that's not
very,
nice.
Very hard.
And having to sort all of those pieces and then making sure they're all right.
It took me way longer than I thought a 500 piece puzzle should take.
Right.
It's fun.
Fun. Goodness. All right. Well, let's dive into this career of yours. You've done a range of genres of TV. Arctic Air, Sanctuary, Once Upon a Time, Hallmark movies. I mean, you've been all over the map. One of my personal favorites is the pilot of Psych. I thought you were fabulous in that one.
Thank you. Every once in a while, that has quite a fan base, because every once in a while I get, even though the show's been done for so long and I was in the pilot, so like so many years ago, but every once in a while I get people, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I just put it together. You're in the pilot of Psych. So big fans.
That's what happened to me. I watched Once Upon a Time and Psych, not knowing who you were. And then I got really into When Calls the Heart. And then I went back and I went, oh my gosh, it's Pascale.
There I am.
Yeah, that was me with Once Upon a Time, because I was looking at IMDb just because I like seeing actors in different things. So I'm not, with blinders on
a character.
on a character. Yeah. I was like, wait, I've seen that episode. She was on there. So I went back to watch it.
Had the wig on.
A wig,
like,
right?
Yeah. The red-haired wig. And it was a different period with like the costumes and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, unless they see the credit or whatever, they don't always put it together that was me.
And very not like Rosemary at all.
So what would you say is your favorite Hallmark project, not including When Calls the Heart? And what is your favorite non-Hallmark project that you've done?
Okay. I just have to think about that. So not including When Calls the Heart.
Well, because of course it's gonna be When Calls the Heart.
I mean, it is. When Calls the Heart is so dear to me because it's just so long we've been working together, and it's so much more than just a show now in my life. So definitely that goes down as one of my all-time favorite projects, obviously, and it's continuing on. But I mean, I love anything I work with Kevin on, basically. I mean, Kevin's really, he's truly one of my best friends. And so you just don't get that very often, where you get to work so closely with one of your best friends, doing your dream job with your best friend. And so we just have such a good time working together, and
it shows.
And we love it. We love it. And I'm glad people can pick up on that, because that's the true highlight for me, is getting to work with him, and we keep things fresh for each other on camera, but we also make each other laugh constantly off camera. And so the whole experience just ends up being a joy. Like, we have a great time and are laughing top to bottom.
Right.
And then as far as not on Hallmark, I'd say I have kind of two favorites. I really loved working on Arctic Air. That was a really big challenge for me. There was a lot of physicality to it. We would go up north, northern Canada, to Yellowknife once a month, roughly, and film for like a week. And so the seasons there are so extreme. Like, the summer is very, very hot, but also there's so many bugs to contend with. And then we were up there also in the dead of winter, where it was -40 and all the film equipment is freezing. And you would, like, I remember one day we were filming and it was so cold, and they had a warm-up tent for you to go into. But in the warm-up tent, our water bottles, the water in our water bottles was still frozen. That was in the warm-up tent. It was still literally freezing in the warm-up tent.
Wow.
And it was just such an interesting challenge in terms of what I was putting my body through. And that's just a fun, interesting experience. I got to jump out of a helicopter and rappel down the side of a mountain. Like, for real, I was doing that stuff. And
wow.
I also, so it was really exciting. And I really loved that character. She was this strong, independent woman who was trying to run this airline, but also had this vulnerability. So I really loved that character. And then I also really loved, there was a TV show called Intelligence that I worked on for a season. And the character was just so complicated and complex. And it just got more and more so. When I originally went on, I think the character was only supposed to appear in 2 episodes. And then they just kept on writing more and more for the character. And it was just so interesting to see. It was a very unique experience. The creator of the show, Chris Haddock, he would write every episode, but he was also there on set every day. So I actually don't know when he slept, because he must have been writing all night, and then he was on set with us all day. And he was always watching the monitor, like really closely watching the monitor, watching what you were doing. And then he would go back to the scripts that he was working on, and he would allow what you were doing, what you were bringing to the character to inform then how he was writing the character in future episodes. And it just was this really interesting kind of symbiotic, fluid relationship. Not just for me, for all the actors and all the characters on the show and him. And I've never experienced that ever since. And it was just so interesting to see it organically come to life.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah. It was really fun.
That's really cool.
And that seems to be quite a trend for you. A character's only supposed to come on for one or two episodes, and
the heart.
Then they stay.
I was only booked initially for those last 2 episodes in season 1. And then I booked them, and I hadn't read all of them. Like, they normally, when you audition for a part, they just send you bits and pieces. They don't send you the whole script.
Right.
So I booked the part and I read the script, and it ends with Rosemary saying, "Oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sticking around." And I remember I phoned my agent and I said, I don't know. It's kind of looking like I'm sticking around on this show. And at the time I was actually still on Arctic Air. And so I wasn't actually available to stick around on When Calls the Heart. But I don't know if you've read this or seen this in other interviews, but our producer, our executive producer is a man named Brad Cravoy. And he phoned me. So Arctic Air got canceled. And literally the next day, Brad called me and he said, "So I'm just checking your availability for When Calls the Heart. We'd like you to come back as a series regular on the show, but we need to know if you're available. I know you have this other show." And I was like, "Well, your timing couldn't be better. My show was canceled yesterday."
I knew that had been the way it happened. I didn't know it was the next day.
Yeah, it was really close. Like, it was a crazy thing to have unfold that way, because you know, you have that heartbreak, and then I didn't even really have time to feel it of going, my show was canceled, because immediately this came along, and I thought, oh wow, okay, this is exciting. I didn't really know anything about the show at that point. I think the first season was just starting to air, and so I just and it hadn't really, like, I mean, I don't know, what season did you guys become aware of the show?
So it was 2015. I had just had my daughter. And so they had season 1 and 2 on Netflix, and I binged it. And then I was like, there's a New Year's movie. What?
Yes, that's right.
So that's when I watched live. Yes.
I started seeing promos for it when they were starting to advertise for season 3. And I was pregnant. It was 2016. I was pregnant with my third. It was my first son.
Well, so I think that both of your stories, kind of learning or getting into the show around season 2 or 3, is pretty common. And so when I was like kind of signing on to the show, it hadn't really gained its momentum yet. And so I really didn't know, okay, like, this is a fun show. I had a good time for those 2 episodes. I don't really know where this is going. And then we had that first, have either of you been to the Hearties family reunion?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Oh, and we didn't have one this year, of course.
Yeah.
One day
we will make it there one day.
But we had that first Hearties reunion during season 3, while we were filming season 3. And so many people came. And I remember going, oh, like, something special is happening right here. Like, but season 1 and 2 had aired already. And it wasn't until I was in that I went, oh, okay, something's happening. Like, this is something special is happening. This show has really got a following, and this show means a lot to a lot of people. And then it's just grown exponentially. I mean, that's really an anomaly. A lot of shows kind of get a big audience out of the gate in season 1 or maybe season 2, and then they start to go down. And our show literally has just gained momentum every single year. Every single year, our numbers are bigger than the next year. And I don't know, I just think that speaks to the show we're making. And also then the community that the show offers our fans. People really connect with each other. And that's been really, that's really special.
Yeah.
Casey and I met because of the show.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, really? How did you two connect then? Like you two, out of all the Hearties out there, how did you two connect?
So we connected on another podcast, the Hallmarkies podcast, and we were doing Signed, Sealed, Delivered recaps.
Oh,
okay. So we do Deliver Me a Podcast. So that's kind of how we connected.
Yeah.
But I'd seen Cammie on, Twitter where, all the Hearties are tweeting during this season and everything. So I knew of her, but this is how we really got to know each other, is doing this podcast. So.
Oh, great.
And we just love When Calls the Heart. And we were like, let's just start from the beginning.
Yeah, we recapped season 7 together on the Hallmarkies podcast. And then we said, you know what? No one's ever done it from the very beginning. We love this show. Let's do it. So
and have people been into listening to it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. So we're very excited to cover season 8. But before we get
to be something
there, yes,
right. Whoa, we got to back up.
Yes. So Rosemary goes through quite a character journey in all of those years, and she really surprised me the most. I mean, from watching her, obviously she was the other woman, and then she was very, very big personality. And then
we all were so frustrated.
I know.
Go away. Jack's not yours anymore.
But it was like this, all of a sudden it clicked for me. I think it was the end of season 2, the New Year's Wish movie, when I was like, I actually really love this character. What was the hardest part about crafting a character that changes from very unlikable to very loved?
I would say that's more of a testament to the writers, that they were willing to allow this character to evolve and not be pegged as just one thing. And so I would give credit mostly to them, of that they took the character that was pretty unliked initially and quite riled people up. I think in a good way, quite honestly. I think it's good for fans to feel passionate and care about their main characters. I think that's a good thing.
Hope Valley needed shaken up anyways.
Yeah, exactly. But that they saw potential for this character to grow, and that there was a place for her matured, evolved self to still be in the fabric of the show, and that they've gone on that journey through the 7 years. I wouldn't say there's been a single season where Rosemary has stayed stagnant. She's continued to evolve and change and grow. And that's really more of a testament to the writers. And I take what they give me and see on the page and try and breathe as much life into it as possible. I think a lot clicked when Lee's character was introduced into the show. I think Rosemary's place in the show kind of solidified, her purpose kind of solidified there. And that really propelled her forward more than any other incident up until that point of going, I don't want to be on this journey by myself. I don't want to be solely ambitious to the detriment of everything else that's bringing meaning to my life. And it was that moment where Lee, she turns down the movie. She's right there on the steps of the church, right behind you. So she's there, and she's made the decision, but she's sitting there pretty glum, thinking, now what? Basically, now what? I know that's not the right decision, but what is the right decision? What am I supposed to do now? And then Lee comes forward, and I think it clarifies for her that he brings so much purpose and meaning to her life. And not that her life, come on, it's Rosemary. Her life's never going to revolve around a man, but it did give her a new focus and new direction in life.
Yeah. I don't know. I beg to differ. There's a little man that Rosemary's life revolves a whole lot around currently.
Well, little Jack.
True.
Little Jack. She loves little Jack so much. And I love those scenes with those twins. I just think, a lot of people find working with children, especially little children, challenging. I don't know if it's because I'm a mom and I'm around little kids, but I love it. I just think it's so unpredictable, and what they give you is always so fresh and in the moment that I just love it. The surprise element is so much fun for me.
Yeah. I love this story that you guys told of the twins and the horse at Christmas or his birthday.
Yes,
and
it was
just
birthday. Well, his birthday and Christmas. Right?
Yes. And he wouldn't laugh, or he hated the horse or something.
It was. He was not into the horse. And then, of course, as soon as we turned the coverage onto the adults, then suddenly he loved the horse.
Of course.
So we were like, quick, move the cameras. We got to get this. And that scene cut together beautifully. Sometimes when you're done filming the scene, you truly are thinking, I don't even know what we've got. I hope the editor can work some magic with this, because I don't even know what we accomplished in that scene. But they always manage to cut it together, and it looks great. And the kids are so cute and just luminescent on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Big question here, because you've got 7 years worth of stuff to go through. What is your favorite Rosemary moment?
Oh, well, I don't have just one. Of course, I don't have just one, but
I figured.
But I mean, one of my favorite days filming was, and it's in season 3. Mm-hmm. And it's the scene where Lee has hurt his leg, and they aren't married yet. They're still kind of courting, and Rosemary comes blazing in and he's like, oh, it's not a big deal. And she's horrified. Oh my gosh. And then she's fussing. And then Faith turns up because she's the nurse and she's going to tend to it. And Rosemary's kind of competing with her subtly of like, oh, you're doing that? Well, I'm going to do that. And then I got into this thing of trying to feed Kevin this soup, which was not scripted, but I got so into it. And I did it. I think I did it once where I kept on shoving the soup in his mouth. And Kevin initially thought, this is kind of annoying. Like, what? We didn't know each other that well at that point.
Right.
He's thinking, this is kind of annoying. And then I just kept persisting with it though. And then he went, oh, this is actually really funny. And he jumped on board. And that is really a testament to the two of us, where we're always walking that line between comedy and annoying each other.
Okay. While we're on the topic, I gotta know, and maybe you're keeping it secret on purpose, but the ladies' choice dance when you walked past him and then came back, was that scripted?
It was not scripted. It was not. I thought that would be funny, and so unfortunately, the camera operators and everything went with it. But yeah, no, it was real. I'm so glad they kept it.
Yeah, and it's a great gif.
It's a great moment.
GIF.
It's a great gift too.
Oh man.
Oh, that was the funniest. I laughed so hard at that moment. And then all of the talk on Twitter, was that real or was that scripted?
Yeah.
No, I'm betting anything it wasn't scripted. So yeah.
It wasn't scripted. And that's always the great thing about working with Kevin, is he will always take those unscripted moments that I throw his way and he just rolls with it. Whereas I shouldn't say a lot of actors, some actors kind of get flustered of like, oh, wait a second, that's not scripted. Like, that's not how the scene's supposed to go. And he just always rolls with it, which is great.
Oh, good man. Good man.
Speaking of Lee, we know his family now that we've gone through season 7. We've met his sister and we know his backstory. Yeah. Will we ever get to meet or know about Rosemary's backstory?
You know, I have always thought that would be really exciting. I've always thought it would be really fun to have Rosemary's mom, who we know, it was like a little footnote, I think in season 2 or maybe even season 1, where they said that her mom was a performer as well. And I always thought it would be really funny to have Rosemary's mom and have, like, everybody always thinks Rosemary's larger than life. It would be fun to have Rosemary's mom come, and Rosemary looks like the dullest person in the town next to her mom, because her mom is so large, like larger than life. I've always thought that would be really funny, but thus far it hasn't happened. But I've always thought that would be funny.
who would play Rosemary's mom for you?
I don't know that. Honestly, me and Aaron have had many discussions about this of who could, well, sometimes we have that of like, Aaron and I'll be like, oh, if we were going to do some like stunt casting of some big celebrity or something on the show, who would play it? I don't know. Anyways, we've come up with many different ideas. I don't know though. I don't know who would be the best option, but somebody who could really, actually, this is an idea that I had that I thought would be really fun because I've heard she actually is a really big fan of the show, is Reba McEntire.
Yes.
I thought she would be great as Rosemary's mom.
Oh, and she would be larger than life.
Oh, she sure would.
Larger than life, and she's got that voice, and I just thought it would be really fun. And she actually really likes the show. I'm putting it out there. Who knows? Reba, if you're listening to it.
We will tag her so she makes sure she hears it.
When we talked to Brian Birdcammy, I think we threw out Reba as
yeah, we did.
Somebody to bring to Hope Valley. We did.
Yeah. When we interviewed Brian Bird, we said, Reba would be a really good person to bring as a guest star to Hope Valley.
She would be really fun, and that would be a really fun episode to see that dynamic. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
So Rosemary's father, he was a Mountie. That's how
he was a Mountie, and that's really all we know is that he was a Mountie, and her mom was a performer. And
was he killed in the line of duty like Jack's father?
I feel like there was. I've always kind of thought that was the case, that her father was killed in the line of duty, but I don't know that that's ever been directly said on the show. I don't,
it hasn't been. So.
Maybe as a side note, I don't know, but I've always thought that.
Yeah. That's what I always thought too, but I don't know.
I know. I don't think it's actually ever been mentioned, but
it hasn't. I can promise you that.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So we had a couple of questions about realization moments, because we feel that there are a lot of moments when the light bulb goes on for Rosemary. And so one of the things that we wanted to know, and you can answer these as yourself or in character for Rosemary. When did Rosemary realize that she was a part of Hope Valley and not another woman? You kind of already answered this on the steps when Lee proposed, but was that when she felt like she was a part of Hope Valley, or just that she had found the place that she was supposed to be? What do you think?
I think at that moment, the moment on the steps, I think that gave her a focus in life that was not as self-centered. But I don't know if that was the moment where she really felt that she was part of the fabric of the community and the importance of that in her life. I would say that moment came later. And I would say probably the moment when we see that highlighted the most is actually it's either her wedding episode or the episode right before it, where there's that flood and there's all that going on, and she ends up giving up her entire feast of the wedding, donating it to people who don't have food and are hungry, and then she gives up the fabric for the bridal dresses, for bandages, and I think that's when you see that happen of going, these people, this community means more to me than my own personal goals or aspirations. And I think that was a turning point for her, that episode or those 2 episodes when that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what about, when did Rosemary realize that she was in love with Lee?
Oh, that's a good question. Because it was a slow flirtation for a while. Yeah. I mean, I think what really tipped her over the edge was Molly Sullivan, really. I think she kind of thought, oh, this is this cute guy who I basically have in my back pocket if I want. And then it wasn't until she thought that she might have lost him that then she went, oh, wait a second, I actually care about him quite a bit. And I think that was the moment where she realized that he was more important to her than just a little flirtation.
Right.
Yeah.
And that word, dear readers, is scoundrel.
You know what? The funny thing about that scene it's the only time I have ever come on all the years of When Calls the Heart that I have been so frustrated that I have been almost on the verge of tears. That typewriter was so ornery. It was so hard. And I have a lot to say. Like I'm trying to say a lot of dialogue, but also work these keys. And it's a real vintage typewriter. Oh my goodness. It kept on malfunctioning and I couldn't get the lines out. And I was like brimming with tears. I was like, I don't know if this is going to ever work. Anyways, I just was like, well, Rosemary's supposed to be really frustrated, so I'm just going to put all of that into this.
Bless your heart, and it worked.
Yes. We've used that typewriter very little since that moment because that was so difficult.
Oh, that's a fun little fact. I mean, playing out. I mean, now
fun
we know.
For you, baby. It was not that fun for me in the moment.
I don't know. It's either that or the flute.
Oh, yes. So what other realization moments? When did Rosemary's view on children change? Because there's a sudden spark that happens. It's never a thing. She calls them sticky.
Yeah.
Do you know what is in those diapers?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was that one I actually don't think was an epiphany kind of moment. I think it was a slow, gradual development for her over the course of, what was it? I guess season 6, where she realizes that it's not happening and she's frustrated and confused and obviously deeply sad by that. And I think that sadness almost takes her by surprise. It was something she wanted and she didn't even realize she wanted it. And that's the moment. And I think also what brought it grossly into light was the birth of baby Jack and seeing what a bright light he was in her life and how much she wanted that for herself.
Yeah. Well, continuing on the topic of child. So we know that no,
He's big one.
This is my big one. # no spoilers. But last time you talked to Deidre Behar, you and Kevin had said that you think that your character should have a family. It's just a matter of how you get the family, whether it's adoption or Rosemary becoming pregnant. Have you come to a consensus and an agreement on how the Coulters will be expanding their family? You don't have to say how, but do you agree now? Do you and Kevin agree?
What I will say is Kevin and I have always been pretty much on the same page. We've always been on the same page that we feel like that is where their journey is leading. What I will say is I don't know if everyone else, we're not the ones writing our storyline. Right. We're not the ones who are in charge of our storyline. And so what I will say is I don't know if everyone else, I don't know if there's a consensus of it's still a little bit up in the air, I would say, of what or how or if it's happening. And so that's, I guess, all I will say on that, so that I don't give anything away.
Well, we have pitches.
We're not short on pitches. I have lots of pitches myself. It's just getting there to be a consensus.
Yeah, I told Cammie, because I have been Team Coulter since the very beginning. I have loved Lee and Rosemary. They're just so much fun. I love seeing their growth and all of the different challenges that they're going through. They're very much a real couple, it's something you can relate to. But I was telling Cammie, my pitch would be they should adopt in season 8, and then season 9, we can have a Christmas movie called When Calls the Heart, A Gift for Christmas.
There, you've written it. It's great.
She's having a baby and she's trying to tell Lee in this grandiose way. And then it ends up being something very intimate and small and a gift. I thought that would be so we both of best worlds.
So in your pitch, they adopt and they get pregnant with a baby.
Yeah. And by that time, baby Jack is not going to be a baby. So fewer babies.
That also makes it a little bit more crazy and chaotic that you've got the adoption and everything, and you're just trying to kind of get into the system with that, and then surprise.
A surprise. Well, I mean, I think one thing for sure that everyone would agree on is that Rosemary and Lee, their storylines thrive in the world of chaos. I always think the more chaotic, the funnier the two of them are, and the way they operate and the way they approach chaos is very different and very funny. And so I always like that. I like them being in messy situations and seeing how they navigate it.
Yeah, we do too.
Can you say overnight stay?
Oh boy. So I know that you and Kevin were scheduled to shoot a movie, I think in Hawaii last year.
We were supposed to be filming a movie in Hawaii. It was a movie that we had developed ourselves, and it was supposed to film in April. And then of course the whole world was turned upside down. So that got put on hold. And then when things started to open up again, and it would have been a logical time to go and film it, was when we were going back to When Calls the Heart. And so the idea was that we were going to film When Calls the Heart and then do it in the new year, like 2021, which is what's happening. So we're going to go and we're going to film it in March.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's really exciting because this is a project we've been developing and working on for a long time now. And for just various reasons, it kind of was postponed or put on the back burner. Our work schedules were not conducive. Like there were so many things. So to finally do it and get it made is really exciting for us.
Yeah. And did he write this one too?
No, we just developed it, and then we brought on a writer to write it for us, with us. But no, he didn't write this one. He just kind of developed the story and the characters with me. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Super fun.
Oh, that is the best news that happened. Yay. So we know that the best bloopers are with Kevin, most likely. Do you have any funny or fun behind the scene stories in general that maybe include other members of the cast, or is there just a really knockout one that has Kevin in it?
Well, it seems that Aaron and I often get our scenes usually out at the row houses. So how it normally works, you might not know how the layout of Hope Valley or the actual town works. So there's the main street, and then at the end of the main street, there's a winding road that goes over to where the church is. And there's another road that goes out of town. And I won't say quite far out of town, but it's a ways out of town. And that's where the row houses are. And there are actually, on the show, of course, everyone thinks there's a row of row houses, and there's actually only two. There's two. There's ours, and then there's hers. And then sometimes hers gets swapped out and repainted really quickly to be Nathan's, but that's very rare that they'll do that. But so there's usually, we film 2 episodes at the same time. And so out of those 2 episodes, we usually have at least one whole day where we're out at the row houses, which means it's most likely going to be me and Kevin and Aaron, only the 3 of us from the top to the bottom of the day. And those days they're always really fun because the three of us are really close friends.
Right.
But they're always, by the end of the night, I don't know, it always seems like it's Aaron and I closing out the night together. And we can get very silly and loopy there by the end of the night. And there was this one night where her and I were doing this scene together, and there was a weird thing. She had to position herself in a funny way. I think it was because she had to be out of my light. It was, the shot was only on my face. It was like over her shoulder, but you didn't even see her shoulder onto me. And so she kind of had to be in this funny position. But there was a moment where I think there was a moment where when we had shot the master, where you can see both of us fully, I think we had held hands, or she had touched my arm or something. And so she wanted to still give me that illusion of that gesture, but she couldn't actually reach and touch me because she would block my light. And so she just kept on trying to be in the scene with me. And she would then just, at the moment, she'd just go, and her hand just hover there. And I could not hold it together. Like, she would try and look so earnest, but I knew she was just ready to crack herself. Like, she was dying laughing inside. Finally, I was like, stop it. Just stop it with this hand. Don't do it, please. We're never going to get through this scene. We'll never get through. And so we ended up ditching that ridiculous hand hovering thing.
Oh, that is funny.
That's funny.
Okay, let's talk about season 8 for a moment. Now, we know everything is under lock and key regarding season 8. So we're not going to dig. We're not going to try to pull anything out of you. However, when we interviewed Brian, he did manage to squeeze out 5 words that he thought described season 8. So if you could describe season 8.
I want to know can I know what his 5 words were? I want to know what his 5 words were.
He actually said a sentence. We thought that he was going to pick 5 adjectives, but
yeah, that's what I would have done. But let's hear.
Yeah, he said no more cagey, just truth.
Oh, just truth. That's pretty good, but it still that answer is kind of cagey.
That's what we thought. We had to think about that for a moment. Like,
what would I say? My 5 words would be mystery, the unexpected. I'm going to put that as one word. The unexpected.
Okay.
Heartbreak.
Oh.
Heartbreak. Tension.
Yeah, from what we've heard.
and romance. There is true romance that happens. I mean, I know we say that about every season, but there's some real romance happening this season. And I think people will be very excited about that.
Those are 5 really good words.
Okay,
really good words.
Brian's, they're better than Brian's.
of course. I think you actually threw a bonus word out there too.
No, she said the unexpected.
Yeah. So for Rosemary, she can do it all. She can play the flute. She can sing. She can shoot. She can, ride a horse.
I love
all
it that you said play the flute as the first thing, though. Of all the things, she can play the flute.
She can play the flute.
Pretty darn well, I'm sure. But what is one thing you'd like to see her attempt to do in future seasons? Something that she hasn't done?
Well, I mean, the obvious answer, motherhood. That's what I would love to see her attempt, is motherhood. But I also really would love her to find, and I don't know what this is, but I'd love for her to find a real passion. She's never short on passion. She's going to find passion whatever she does. Mm-hmm. But right. I have always felt personally that nothing has quite scratch that itch the same way that performing has for her. And I don't think it necessarily has to be performing, but, you know, even when she was writing her advice column, and even when she was running the dress shop or doing many multitudes of things, I don't think it gave her the same satisfaction as she had when she was performing. And so I think I'd like to see her find something. I'd like to see her find that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we going to get that theater?
Are we going to get that theater?
I don't know. What I will say, it doesn't happen in season 8, but
Okay.
I'm still campaigning for it.
We need a Hope Valley musical. I mean, you know, with all the
Oh my goodness.
townspeople, Rosemary,
I know.
rounding them up and everything.
Honestly, there's so many wonderful singers in the cast. Like Aaron has a beautiful voice. Obviously, Jack Wagner, and then there's so everybody, everybody except for Kevin. Kevin's fine. He can sing fine, but he's not like a solo
singer.
virtuoso,
Right.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I can't remember what episode it was, but there was an episode that we were going to film this season or last season. And of all the people you could pick in the cast to sing, who actually are wonderful singers, our writer went to Kevin and said, Kevin, I'd like Lee to have a solo. How are you at singing? And Kevin was like, no. You've got
I can see him saying that.
10 other cast members who are actual legitimate singers to choose from. No, I'm not doing that. So it didn't happen.
Oh, that would have been something to see.
Yeah.
No, it would have been funny. It would have been funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our last segment is Rosemary's rapid fire questions.
Okay.
We actually named it that.
Mhm.
It's our set of kind of team beat, just the rapid fire go through an answer of.
Sure.
So,
And I'm answering them like Rosemary, or they're questions about Rosemary?
there are questions that you will answer about the show as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah. They're very easy. So the first one is your favorite set location on One Calls Heart.
Lee and Rosemary's house.
All right. Outside of your own character, which character would you want to play for a day?
Hickam.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I have to say my favorite Hickam and Rosemary is the dove.
Oh, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. I love that. I wish Rosemary and Hickam had more scenes together, because the two of them, I think, are so funny. He's so eager to please, and yet, and she's just so bossy with him. I just think the two of them are really funny together.
So great.
You put him on a diet and you find those naughty little birds.
That's right. That's right.
Classic.
Very classic. What modern convenience would you want to take back to 1910?
A washing machine.
Moms all agree.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Would you yourself rather eat at the saloon or at the cafe?
The cafe.
Okay.
Okay. Who in Hope Valley would you want to work for or with? So, I mean, Gowan, Lee, Dottie's dress shop, etc.
Lee. I would love to work with Lee at Coulter Enterprises.
All right. Okay. So now this is regarding your castmates. Who is most likely to play a prank?
Kevin. Hands down.
Who is most likely to burst into random song or dance between takes?
Paul Green.
Really?
Not so much the dance, but song for sure. Yes.
Okay.
I honestly thought you were going to say yourself.
Paul has me beat by quite a bit.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, so who is most likely to be found at craft services between takes?
Erin.
Oh.
With the cookies, right?
With the cookies,
Yes.
with the tea, she just likes busying herself over there.
Okay. Little munchies. Who is most likely to laugh or cry at an inappropriate time during filming?
Me, always me. Always me.
Who is most likely to be the mother or father hen of the group?
Oh, I would say probably Erin. Erin, actually, I don't know why I was even questioning it. She's the total mother hen.
Oh.
All right. And then last question. If you and your castmates were stuck on an island, Gilligan style, what would each person be doing? And you don't have to name them all because there's like 100 of you.
A million.
But just a few.
I would say Erin would be trying to round everybody up to participate in something, some sort of game or activity all together. Kevin and I would probably be pretty useless and just like sitting around like telling jokes. And I would say Jack Wagner might be doing some like kind of meditative laps around the island. And let's see, what would Chris McNally would be trying to mix cocktails for people.
Oh, yeah.
Break open the coconuts.
Yeah. And let's see, who else pops to mind? Kevin McGarry, he would be foraging for snacks. He's actually another big muncher on set. He's always nibbling. So he'd probably be trying to find snacks and stuff. I don't know for everybody, for himself, definitely. Those are the ones that pop to mind.
Yeah. All right. So nobody's trying to get off the island, but
That's so funny. I didn't even think about trying to get off. If anyone's trying to get off the island, it's probably Kevin. He cannot stay in any place for longer than like 30 minutes. And then he's like, okay, I got to get out of here. Like, where are we going? He would bring me with him, but he's like, I can't stay here any longer.
Well, for Kevin's sake, I hope he never gets stranded.
you guys can go find the driftwood and tell jokes on the way. And
That's right.
Build that raft.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Pascale, we cannot tell you what a pleasure and what a delight this has been. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be the first one.
Yes. The first regular that we have. It's so wonderful. And we are so grateful for you giving of your time. And we're so glad to hear that things are going well for you. And we hope things continue to go well because let's face it, we need more of you. So,
Well, thank you so much. And I hope you both enjoy season 8.
Oh, no doubt about it.
All right, Hearties. Well, you heard it here, and we hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did. We hope all of you are staying safe and that you're having a wonderful time and that you are looking forward to season 8. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.